Hello friends and enemies, welcome to We're Back to Happy for Now. It's me, Isabel, here with a haul and a try chapter for you. So the way we're going to do this is I'm going to haul everything and then we'll try a chapter by month-ish. I think most of these are, I have them all sorted by month release, but if I have a lot in that month, I might break it out into specific release dates. This way, if you're curious about a specific book, you can kind of go to that month's release timestamp down below if you don't want to watch the whole thing, but this is your heads up. It's going to be a big video. I have a lot of things here. The other thing to note, I will be hauling graphic novels here. I will not be reading the graphic novels in the try chapter. That's like something to note, but I'm still going to haul them and show them to you. We'll do another video where I read the graphic novels I got. All right, let's dive directly in with some samplers I got, and then we'll go from there. So I tried not to get a lot of samplers. It's just not my favorite thing in the world. But I did get the Viz Manga sampler for spring 2026. I just ended up with this in my bag. I don't really know what's in here. Don't think I've really looked. But I did get that. That honestly may not stay because spring 2026. But I did get the sampler for Barbie Dreamscape by Alex Aster. I believe this has like the first chapter. I'm just curious. Actually, it's the first 2 chapters. I'm curious, so I had to get it. And then the other sampler I got is the Champion of the Rose. This has like the first chunk of it, and I think it also has links as well. The author for this was there. I didn't read the sampler in time to go meet them and decide if I wanted a finished copy or not. And then I also got, of course, the Samantha the Next Chapter by Fiona Davis sampler because I had to. There was no other choice. Like, I had to have this. I was a Samantha girl, so. And in fact, my mother just found my American Girl doll book, so I grabbed this. I will not be trying the samplers in this video. I will be reading some of them, but I will not be reading them now. Okay, now let's do the graphic novels and then we'll get into all of the books. Again, there's a lot. So we have Ghoul by Casey Iris. I'm just gonna read you the summary about it. This is a debut graphic novel. So when they were little, Lynn and Meg promised to be friends forever, but now Meg is gone and Lynn is 15 and miserable. Moving into a new condo with her family doesn't help either, especially given the gossipy neighbors. But just when Lynn needs a friend the most, a monstrous cartoon ghoul climbs out of the pages of a comic book and into her life. The bizarre duo will soon discover just how many secrets lie within the walls of Forest Court apartments. This sounds right up my alley. I love these kinds of graphic novels, so I'm very excited for it. Then I got, this is one I'm probably passing on to a friend's kid. I just kind of stumbled into this one, which happened a lot, and that is called Fresh Start by Gail Galligan. The author was there signing. She drew an adorable little doodle, and I was like, oh my god, I love this, that you doodle yourself. So this is Fresh Start, and it says Ollie Harrison's dad is a diplomat, which means that her family moves around a lot. She's already lived in Singapore, Korea, and France. When Ollie starts at a new school, she doesn't worry about making a good impression because she knows that when her family inevitably moves again, she'll get a fresh start somewhere else. I relate to that heavily. A complete reset. It doesn't matter if her classmates think she's weird for pretending that she lives in the world of an imagined anime, or if she makes an enemy out of the most popular girl in her class, or if she does something hugely embarrassing. And if it definitely doesn't matter that all her mom wants is for Ollie to be more of a proper Thai daughter. But after moving from Germany to Virginia and having a mortifying first day at her new school, Ollie is shocked to learn that her parents are going to buy a house so that Ollie and her sister Kat can finish grade school in one place. Can Ollie figure out how to be herself and make real friends when she can't run away from her life? I think that sounds really fun. I'm really intrigued. I will probably read this and then pass it along to one of my friend's kids that is a little older, because it's definitely not... My nephew is not old enough for this one yet. So this is We Are Pan by Fratino Flores Montanez. This is 4 Teens, One Island, a revolution that will tear their world apart. When Fidel Castro's revolution erupts across Cuba, everything Antonia, Eugenia, Rosa, and Wilfredo thought they understood about their lives, about their families, their futures, even their identities blows apart like fireworks over Havana Bay. Suddenly, dreamers become fugitives, artists become targets, crushes become enemies, and families must choose who gets to escape and who must stay behind. As the island transforms into a country under surveillance, the 4 of them face choices no teenager should ever have to make. Choices about who they are, who they trust, and who they must say goodbye to forever. What happens when your childhood ends not with a celebration but a revolution? This is inspired by true stories behind Operation Pedro Pan. We Are Pan is a heart-wrenching YA graphic novel about first love, last chances, and the courage it takes to leave everything behind. And I just think that sounds really interesting. It's a very unique setup, very unique placement, and I love historical, like, kind of graphic novels like that. And then I also met this author, S.J. Sindhu and Dion MBD. This is called Tall Water. And basically it says, never look away, Nimi. That's a journalist's first credo, never look away. Ever since she turned 16, Nimi has wanted to see her mother, though she has a loving, if overprotective father and a budding relationship. She yearns to travel to Sri Lanka to confront the mother who refused to leave the island during a war, not even for Nimi's sake. Her father is going back for her for the first time as a reporter on assignment, but he refuses to take her, deeming Sri Lanka too dangerous. But when Nimi's mother appears to her in a dream asking Nimi to come find her, and Nimi knows she must go. Her father is livid when he sees her at baggage claim, but by then it's too late, and he reluctantly agrees to help Nimi make contact with her mother in Sri Lanka. Nimi tags along with her father and his guide, past checkpoints and armed soldiers, and increasing signs of war that rages there. However, the day after Christmas, disaster strikes and a tsunami ravages the island. Stranded amid the devastation and destruction, can Nimi reunite with her mother? Through her journey, Nimi might just learn that the person she most needed to find was herself. This sounds really good. I love a graphic novel. Like, I just love a graphic novel, y'all. Next, we have The Raven Saga, which I went and met for another book, and this was day 2 signing, and I came back. It's the quest to save happily ever after. Wynn lives with her grandmother in a land of fairy tales. She has never seen the world outside of her home and the magical barrier that protects them. One day, a mysterious prince collapses just beyond the barrier, and Wynn crosses over it to help him. In the confusion, a strange boy and his flock of ravens descend and abduct Wynn's grandmother. Wynn decides to travel with her newfound friend, Prince Corlys, and his trusty companion, Theo the Swallow. On a quest to save her grandmother, along the way, she discovers that the outside world isn't magical as she once thought, and danger lurks around every corner. But with the help of her new friend, she is determined to unravel the mystery of the boy with the ravens, and more importantly, the mystery of her own past. This is episodes 1 through 17 of the webcomic, so this is on Webtoon, if you're interested. Then I got Adventure Time's Princess Power. This has comics 15, 20, 35, 62 through 69 from the original Adventure Time comic run. Basically, these are all comics that follow Princess Bubblegum. And I do love Princess Bubblegum. I also got to meet Cami Garcia for Together, the Teen Titans book. I have a couple of these to read, so I need to read those before I can read this one, but I'm very excited. I'm not going to redo the summary of it because I feel like it's going to spoil me on the rest of the series, but this follows some Teen Titans characters, and I really love Cami Garcia. Her books when I was younger were definitely a foundation to my current reading. So, next I did get To Dance the Moon and Stars. I met the author. She was fantastic. She was like, hit me up. I love being on YouTube. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll find a way to get her on my channel. This is stunning, and I'm so excited. This is one I'm going to be reading very soon. We only have 4 more graphic novels, at least. The Demon of Busole is one that I also got. This is by Mary Costa. A half-demon socialite turned exorcist and his disgruntled bodyguard have no trouble facing down the hordes of darkness, but facing their feelings for each other. That's a whole different story. So, sold. Next, I have Hotel Limbo by Ben Harrell. This is about it says on the back, it says, welcome to the afterlife, may we take your bags. I'm intrigued. And then it says, after awakening in the middle of nowhere, a young man is forcefully inducted into the Hotel Limbo as its new bellboy, BB for short. Faced with magical masks, giant cats, a mysterious staff, and a hotel that just won't sit still, BB will soon learn that helping with baggage means something very different where these guests are concerned. Sounds fun. Sounds interesting. Then I also met Matt Fraction and got Batman signed Daylight with Jorge Jimenez, whose art, love his art. And I got to hear Matt talk. He did a little Q&A about this series, his Batman series he's been writing, and that was really interesting because he discussed kind of the idea of Batman and lighting now, and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. That's a good take. So I'm really excited about this. I adore Matt Fraction's writing. I love his wife Kelly Sue also. But yeah, this is absolutely pumped to read. And then last but not least, this was one that was on the Oni Press table, and I couldn't resist. This is called Pink Monsters by Klaus Daniel Herman, and this follows a boy and his queer awakening. He's 14. It is a quiet coming of age, and it is a debut for this author in America. He's very talented for drawing and popular in school for that. But yeah, I'm really intrigued, curious to see how it plays out. That is all the graphic novels. Let's talk about all the books I got that are already out. This just feels like the thing that never ends for me right now, but it's okay. We're getting there. Oh my god, don't drop things, Isabel. I got a variety of things that are already out. Mostly I did get ARCs, so I got Never After by Alexis Hall. Grim streets of London, a young man succumbs to his demons and is discarded by his lover and left penniless and alone, and he uses sex to pay the bills and opium to numb the pain. Sudden illness strikes, all seems lost, but hope finds Misha in the shape of a Reverend Thomas Mandeville. Haunted by grief of his own, Thomas cannot bear to ignore another man's plight. He brings the ailing Mika home to heal in his parish at the Nettlefield. Sounds interesting. I didn't even know this had come out. This was at the Amazon booth. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. We'll grab it. Because they were like, get it books, grab books. And I was like, okay. So if you're too pushy with me, I just grab things. And I'm like, okay, thank you, bye. I also got The Verdant Cage by Jess Lowry. This is from the Mayhem books at Entangled. I'm very intrigued by this one. It does have sprayed edges. So the wall was built to keep them safe, or so they thought, for as long as 17-year-old apothecary Rose Allgood can remember. The towering stone wall surrounding Noah's Valley has protected our people. No one leaves, no one fights, and no one questions why. But their paradise has been hiding its thorns when Rose's mother becomes the valley's first murder victim and her twin brother is swiftly condemned. She alone is searching for the killer. Determined to find the truth and forced to ally with the son of her nemesis to solve the crime, Rose follows a trail of hidden messages, forbidden knowledge, and whispers of a past no one dares remember. The deeper she digs, the more certain Rose becomes that her mother's death was no accident and that the wall isn't just keeping something out, it's keeping something in. They were saying this is like Hunger Games Maze Runner, and I was like, I'm actually intrigued. That's a lot for me with the YA. Next, from the same booth, I got Mate of the Royal by Megan Brandy and Amo Jones. This is a son of a late king of dark magic, and he's the youngest king they've seen. And she was born on an exiled island where the royals toss the most vile creatures. And chaos isn't all she knows, it's what she is. Their worlds collide, ancient magic, a bond ignites, volatile, undeniable, dangerous, wrong. She isn't the mate he expected. I don't know. I was intrigued. I was like, that sounds fun. And there's some murdering. I grabbed because I thought May might like it, but I'll probably still try a chapter. And this is It Happened on a Sunday by Tracy Wolff. Also has sprayed edges. Did this one? This one also, they both have sprayed edges. So, interesting. Oh, that got bent in transit. Oops. Anyways, this is by Tracy Wolff. They call her Black Widow, a pop star, a tabloid tragedy, a girl who set the world on fire and got burned in return. She doesn't care what they say anymore. She had an ex who tried to kill her and fans who blamed her for surviving. She's halfway through a sold-out tour and close to unraveling. And she meets this guy at a meet and greet who is a rising star quarterback. It sounds interesting. I'm curious. Unsure. I also got, this is what I got from the book Vending Machine, Camp Scare by Delilah S. Dawson. This is a 10 and up scary book. Parker can't wait for summer camp. She'll make amazing memories far away from the bullies at her school. But the mean girl who made life a living nightmare is in Parker's cabin. And soon all the other girls turn on Parker. No one wants her to be her friend except Jenny. Jenny is the only one who understands, the only one who feels the same way Parker does, that there's a deep, dark secret to making friends. And she's the only one who doesn't know it. But there's something else Parker doesn't know. Something bad happened to the camp a long time ago, and it won't stay buried. Intriguing. I also like the cover. It's very fun with the little flamey, burning marshmallow skull. Then we have, I'm 99% sure this is out. That's Kiss, Marry, Kill. This follows a girl who's a true crime podcaster, and she has an uncanny knack for pinpointing killers. She gets it wrong. She identifies an innocent man, gets backlash. She's back in her small hometown, Midwest hometown, and she's concerned that she's the canceled killer's next target. Could Jude, the sexy cheese-loving nerd her mom is convinced she's going to marry, Aaron, the hot Chicago detective, who's the walking embodiment of every swipe right fantasy, and Mateo, a Hollywood stunt double, who's got all the wrong moves, be the killer. So we get a little love triangle here, and I'm very intrigued by the setup. This is a very unique romance setup. Next, we have North Country by K.A. Tucker. I actually got an audiobook arc of this on NetGalley, and I don't know anything about it. Emery McAllister once dreamed of leaving Cold River with the boy next door, but one devastating night destroyed their future and left her heart carefully guarded. 20 years later, she's built a life of control, running the town's police detachment, raising her daughter, and keeping a fragile peace with her ex-husband, the mayor. She certainly has moved on until the day she has dreaded and secretly hoped for finally arrives. Logan Landry is home after 2 decades behind bars for being in the wrong place at the wrong time and the choices that haunted him ever since. Logan returns to his family's bison ranch, carrying the weight of everything he lost, but especially Emery. Friendship is all he dares hope for now, but seeing her ignites a flame. Kind of curious. I don't know if I'll love it. Like, that's not necessarily my fave setup, but I'm just, like, intrigued enough that I would like to maybe try it. I don't usually love a police romance, but I'm kind of curious what that looks like with someone who got wrongfully put behind bars. Then I also met Kristen Vale and got A Tale of Mirth and Magic. This is a cozy, enchanting little adventure. Iliki may not have family, but she does have her fierce independence, boundless charm, and enough talent as a jewelry artisan to make a living on the road. Unfortunately, she can't yet manage to control her chaotic elven magic and her temper. Sweet, soft Bara lives a quiet life. All he wants is to blend in and not make waves, a bit tricky as a purple half-giant. When Iliki lands in hot water, Bara finds himself helping her flee the constables. So begins a journey filled with cozy ends, quirky companions, delicious meals, and a sprinkle of danger. He's given up on finding love. She always refused to try, but traveling together, they may discover exactly what they both need. So, sounds cute. Sounds fun. And then I got Wildcard by Jennifer Iacopelli. This is also already out, obviously. She's at the top of her game. Can she risk falling for him? Indiana Gaffney's first love has always been tennis. After snagging a slot at the elite Outer Banks Tennis Club, she set her sights on a wildcard invitation to Wimbledon. And she's going to do anything it takes to get there. Her eyes are on the competition, but her heart is on sport agent Jack Harrison, tall, handsome, and a powerhouse in the tennis world, and the older brother to Indy's friend and competition, Penny. So, sounds fun. Interesting setup. Next, we have our August releases. Okay, so I have A Summer of Stars by Liana Cincotti. This one I grabbed because I liked what the premise. I read the back of the book, so I'm not going to read you the back, but I will tell you the summary of this one because I knew why I grabbed it. She's in the world a tennis star, and he is a big screen actor, like a movie star, about to be the love interest in a book. And they think the world needs to see him wildly in love to market this book. And they team up. And she needs help because the world hates her after a messy breakup. And I was like, that sounds interesting. So I grabbed it. This is out August 11th. Next, the only one in August I will not be reading, which is Devour Me by Emily Rath. I have an e-arc of this, and I've already read some of it. And I put it back because apparently there were a ton of edits made. So I'm kind of curious to see what that looks like. But I did get Devour Me by Emily Rath, and it is signed, and I'm so thrilled I found it. Anyways, very pumped. Next, we have The Iron Hex by Victoria S. Walsh. This is out August 4th. This is about a girl with magical abilities running a spell shop on the edge of town, and she's kind of stayed unnoticed by the witch hunters until one walks through her door. So I'm very intrigued to see about that one. And then I also got Divine Oaths by Elizabeth Agyeman. She wrote some young adult titles before this debut for her adult titles. This was marketed as Ninth House meets Legendborn Dark Academia. And I was just like, I love this cover. I gotta try it. So this is at Westfield University. It's supposed to be Sienna Adu's dream school, but when she's on the cusp of attending the elite academy institution hidden in Virginia swampland, an unexpected tragedy changes everything. She loses her family and gains an extraordinary power, the ability to see lifelines and witness other people's past and futures. She ends up just working jobs and not pursuing college, and then gets approached by the heir to the Westfield University with a strange request. So I'm intrigued. I think this sounds really interesting. I'm assuming it will have a slight romance subplot, but we'll see what happens. This one is out September 26th. September. I pulled it for August. Whatever. Anyways, this one's out in September. Apparently I grabbed it wrong. I thought it was out in August. Anyways, I'm curious. Okay, next we have a late August release, which is But I Hate Him by Paige Powers. This follows Rory post a public meltdown that went viral. He wants to win this medal at this academy camp, and an attractive hockey player who wins every competition shows up. And I just think that's a fun setup. And I love a young adult like that. Like, this feels like older young adult, and I enjoy those. So, curious to see. Next, I did get Becky Chambers, As You Wake, Break the Shell. This is out in October. I don't know a ton about it. I just know a lot of my friends love Becky Chambers, and I've liked what I've read so far, but I've not read a ton. It's told in a dual timeline about these two friends and them finding eventually domestic bliss, so I'm very intrigued. This is when I realized I missed in the graphic novel pile, but that is Akane. This is I grabbed it because it said Afrocentric galaxy filled with heroism, adventure, perfect for fans of Star Wars and Black Panther. And I love both. My nephew also loves both. I think he's not quite old enough for this one yet, but I'm curious enough I would like to read it. Next, we have one that I don't know if it'll be for me. We're in our October releases, obviously, now. But this is one that the people there kind of sold me on, and that is Winterset Hollow. They said it's Winnie the Pooh, but horror. And I was like, what does that look like? And it's quite long. So it has like an extra little book in the back. Anyways, I got the audiobook pre-ordered on Libro FM for the ARC program. Basically, this follows animals and they realize that the world, they want to explore the island, and this features people who want to explore an island that inspired their favorite book, which is called Winterset Hollow. And that features a tribe of animals preparing for their yearly end of summer festival. The trio break into the author's apparently abandoned estate, and they discover that much of what the world believes to be fantasy is fact, and that the truth behind their beloved story is more dangerous than they ever imagined. I'm curious. I don't know if I'll like this, but I'm curious. Next, we have a very, very exciting arc, and that is The Queen of Lombard Street by Lisa Kleypas, who I need to read more from, but I do love Lisa Kleypas. I've enjoyed everything I've read so far. This follows our heroine, Raina, who women are not allowed to open bank accounts, and she is leading the first women's own bank for financial security with help from her mentor. And she either has to like betray him or work with him. This is just a fiction book. I do want to note that this is not necessarily a romance. But yeah, I'm really intrigued. I think it'll be interesting. Next, I have Friendsgiving Pact. This is about best friends Avery and Theo who are home for Thanksgiving during their freshman year of college, survive the week without romantic disasters. She's determined to stay out of her ex-boyfriend's orbit, and Theo's dodging his ex-girlfriend who wants to switch schools to be with him. They're going to fake date through Thanksgiving. So I'm very curious to see how that plays out. This is Avon A, which I'm assuming is like their new adult line. Another one that I'm very excited about. This is Succubus by Kate Fox. Tempest, her touch kills while his saves the dying. Are they fated or forbidden? Tempest Dunlap loves romance novels but knows she'll never have her own happily ever after. She's a sweatpants wearing doula who homeschools her 7-year-old niece in suburban New Jersey. Unfortunately, she's also a succubus. Every man she's kissed has died, but Tempest is a good person who never intended to be a murderer, so she sworn off love forever. Then she meets Joel Tabb, a gorgeous gentle doctor who makes celibacy feel impossible. Tempest can't touch him or tell him that his brother was the last man she dated and accidentally killed. And there's a vigilante hunting people with dark powers, and Tempest is next. So this sounds intriguing. Unsure on the romance element here, because it does say a love story. So I'm like, is it a full romance or not? I don't know. Then I got Renee Watson's Everything New Again. This is a teen, young adult fiction. It's a tender YA romance. He's only there for winter break. They have 2 weeks together, and they have to figure out what life is after that. But it sounds cute. I have Sapphic Vampires that I'm very, very excited for. And that is Lethal. And that is Lethal. Oh my god. That is Lethal Kiss by Taylor Grothy. Something savage lurks below the marble floors of Preston University. So when she's hired, she wants to lay low, enjoy the library, and feed discreetly. She's a monster, but she's careful. Then a professor is found murdered, and it isn't her doing. Whatever is killing her colleagues is older and far less restrained. I'm very excited. This one is marketed as a horror romance. It's time for the last pile. These are all coming out in November 2026, and then sometime in 2027. First things first, I did meet Nisha Day Tooley and got a copy of Too Cold for Comfort. And I'm very, very, very excited for this one. I will be reading a chapter here, but I also know that I will be reading this when it cools down a little. Guaranteed. She ends up in an overbooked lodge. He's the owner. They have to share a wing together because they're overbooked and tensions rise. She's trying to get a photo of a polar bear and is like trying to get over her ex. I'm excited. Next, from Berkeley XO, we have Drown the Bones. I'm actually really excited for everything coming out from Berkeley XO. Everything looks and sounds really good. The spare heir must work with an enemy prince to discover who murdered her twin in a slow burn romantasy. I'm intrigued, y'all. That's it for 2026. Now let's talk about 2027 releases, because I got a handful here. We have To the Rotting End by Sophie St. Germain. I met the author. She was sweet as could be. This is a chonker. He wants her dead. She'll settle for his soul. The story begins when the world ends, bound by lethal ties they were never meant to share. It's till death do them part, starting with his. I'm very excited about it. I think it sounds really fun. This is a dark dystopian romantasy, and I'm intrigued. Next, this was a by chance grab, and that is Hero by Lauren Rowe. This is a re-release. I did meet Lauren. I got the book signed, so that was wild. I just kind of stumbled into this. This is a former booktuber friend's favorite. This is a hot firefighter forced proximity romance after an occupational injury. Brings him in contact with his local therapist. I'm intrigued. Then I met this author, and she was so sweet, and I'm very excited for her book. This is Frankie Lu's Summer of No Regrets by Betty Chang. Basically, it's Frankie Lu doesn't get to have fun. She's got a best friend and nice enough parents, but even but she even had a boyfriend once, but she's got her regrets. Between studying extracurriculars in Chinese school, the weekend she may have gotten into Harvard, but she didn't exactly live the teenage dream. Now she's spending the last summer before college with her grandparents in Taiwan, and this time she's going alone. So she's going to go on a little adventure in Taiwan, and I think that's really fun and exciting. This looks really cute. This one comes out in April of 2027, of Saints and Monsters by Monica Sands. This one is her love story to Puerto Rico. I met her. She was sweet as could be. This is what sold me. Zoraida Cordova meets Sylvia Moreno Garcia in this Latinx fantasy rooted in Puerto Rican history and culture that examines colonial power, faith, and resistance through monsters and sisterhood. She said this is her love story to Puerto Rico. Basically, our heroine is ready to leave her life behind. Her power is used by the wealthy and the rule of the church. So she wants to stop being a vessel. She dreams of her freedom. And then someone else, we're following Selima, is betrothed to the handsome and stoic commandant from the rival island, and both their futures are locked to this person. There's attacks, there's stuff happening. I'm really intrigued. I'm really, really intrigued. I think it sounds really interesting. It was apparently set in inspired by the 1960s Puerto Rico also, and Caribbean. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I think it sounds really interesting. She was sweet as could be. Everyone I met was sweet as could be. And then I also got a pile of tote bags, which I do need to show you a few. And when I said a pile, I do mean a pile, but I do want to show y'all some. Some of these are going to end up in giveaways and things, but one, I got this really cute Berkeley XO tote that says Book Lover. I love it. It's a great purple and blue teal. I ended up with 2 Amazon totes, so that was funny. That was not on purpose. It just kind of happened. Some of these are not great totes, and I will not be keeping them. The Amazon totes are surprisingly nice. They screen printed them for you, so you picked patches, so that was fun. But I'm trying to get to the tote I want to show you. Here it is. This is possibly my favorite tote of the entire event. And it says, Make America Read Again. And I just was tickled. So tickled by that one. I also love this tote from Oni Press. Like, this is a nice tote. So yeah, I left with a lot of tote bags. I got a Scarlet Press tote. Like, again, so I'm dropping them all. So many tote bags, y'all. It was bonkers. And I feel like that's like part of ALA and book events sometimes is like just getting a pile of tote bags. So exactly what happened. And I'm gonna have to sort through these and figure out what I'm keeping. All right, that's it for the haul portion. If that's all you were interested in, I'll see you at the end. You can check the outro to get your emojis and all that good stuff. On to me reading some of these. We're gonna start with the titles that are already out, and I will be back with the try chapter here in a bit for those chunk of books. And I will talk to y'all. I'll see y'all there. All right, we're gonna try the first chapter, Wild Card by Jennifer Acapello, whatever it is. Anyways, I'll be right back. I'm not a huge tennis fan, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, I read the prologue, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not gonna like this book. Not because it's tennis, but because it's told through 3 POVs, and I don't love a triple POV romance like that if it's not everyone in love with each other, and it's not going to be, because it's a brother. It's Indiana, Penny, and Penny's brother, Jack, is the love interest. I don't love that, so this is actually immediately leaving. I'll see if somebody else is interested in it that I know. Okay. I just read the first chapter of A Tale of Mirth and Magic. And I really liked this. I'm keeping it. I do own this digitally as an ebook. No. I have the audiobook of this on Libro FM. So that's also when I do plan to continue. I really liked this first chapter a lot. I am diving into another book. I think I'm going to be DNFing because I messed up. I didn't read the summary, and I'd gotten it on Libro also. So when I saw it physically, I was like, oh, okay, let's try that. But I don't think it'll be for me. So I'm going to try the first chapter of North Country, and I will be right back to talk to you about it. Okay. Just DNF North Country. One, it is set in Canada. So I don't know if Canada cops are not as bad as American cops. I'm still going to struggle. I didn't like the joke she made with her 16-year-old daughter in the beginning of chapter 2 because it just kind of kept playing. I forgot to stop the timer. So that's on me, y'all. I'm DNFing this one. It's just not for me. I'm not loving the setup here for the most part either. It's just not really intriguing me that much. Basically, they got caught with drugs in the car, and now he's out of jail. Even though he, like, I think it was his brother, and, like, his brother ended up dead. It just seems like messy trauma, and I'm good. I'm good. So, on to Kiss, Marry, Kill. Okay, I'm really intrigued by Kiss, Marry, Kill already. We have met our first love interest, Jude, who is her brother's best friend. Her mom is hilarious. The entire dynamic here is hilarious. I'm very intrigued, though. So, basically, she lost her job as a podcaster. because she picked the wrong killer for the canceled killer for who it was. And she's now ran home to a town in Wisconsin that her family lives in and has like an inn that they run. And we're following her journey there. And her mom is losing her mind that she's on this dating app for casual hookups called Spark. And it's been very cute so far. I'm excited for more of this. I'm actually really intrigued to try the audio possibly. I do feel like this has potential to be a really good audiobook, but I need to research like if it's multiple narrators or not. So yeah, I'm pumped to read more of this. This is a keep. So far 2 for 2. 2 left, 2 staying. This is why none of these count in my Read What You Want for 2026, because who knows how many of these I'll DNF. Okay, so I'm reading some chapter 1s. I already read chapter 1 of Camp Scare. This I'm intrigued by, but I also hate because it opens with a really big bullying moment in which our main character is literally tricked into letting these other people, like leaving her stuff, and the popular girl's friends took pictures of her poetry. I'm going to pass this on to a friend of mine's kiddo who is 10, because that is the age group for that book, and they may enjoy it more than I will. I'm already going to DNF. It happened one Sunday. I didn't realize that it's probably kind of loosely Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce fic-ish. I read the opening a little bit, and I just don't care. That's just not my jam. I didn't realize that when I grabbed it, obviously. Like, I don't think I would have grabbed this book if I had realized that, but I didn't. That's also leaving. This is going really well, y'all. Yeah, I feel like this is going so well. I have 4 books I'm already getting rid of. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna keep reading some, but yeah, I just immediately was like, no, this is not what I want. So I'm trying to be decisive here and not hang on to stuff that I'm not interested in. I'd rather get it into hands of people that would like to read it. So that's the plan. Anyways, I'm gonna read a few more here and I'll be back. Okay. A nice little brief change of pace here. Maid of a Royal, I'm keeping on my TBR. It does have something I don't always love in a romancy, which is like really modern language, but I cannot tell time or place in it, so I'm not sure what kind of romantasy it is. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I think this is like a planet or an island where everyone that dies like comes back to life basically, and it's like a prison planet situation. Prison island, not planet, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm intrigued enough that I would like to read more. This first chapter left me curious, so that's a win. We have 1 keep so far in today's stack. All right, I'm gonna keep going. I'll be right back. Okay, I just finished the first chapter of The Verdant Cage, and I'm not a huge YA reader, but I can enjoy a good YA. This is also an older teen YA, so I tend to like those more. I really like this first chapter. She is literally going to be married off, and her mother is like dead at the ceremony, and that's wild. So I'm really, really intrigued to see what I think of this one as we get further in. I might audiobook it this fall. It feels like a fall read. So we're 2 and 2. So we're doing good. All right, 1 more to go, and that'll be Never After by Alexis Hall. Okay, another update as I finish the last of the books that are already out, and that is Never After by Alexis Hall. This is in KU with audio. I did opt to listen to the first chapter on audio. I'm unsure. This is it's gonna be a maybe keep. I was trying not to do maybes, but I'm not sure if I'll really like it once I get further in. The first chapter is rough. Our hero is a sex worker, and basically he's earning money so he can smoke opium to get through his pain. And he ends up found like kind of for dead on the street by this man who takes him in. And we've kind of went through some of his life, and it just was like painful in a way that I wasn't necessarily enjoying. So I think it's a maybe. So I'm going to put it on the keeps with like an asterisk next to it as like I might read a little bit more and immediately DNF, and I'm really not sure. But yeah, I didn't hate the writing. It kind of, when it comes to Alexis Hall, I'm always looking for A Lady for a Duke, which is not feasible to want the same thing from an author every time. But like I loved A Lady for a Duke so much that I just like everything else has not stood out the same ways to me. And it sucks. I hate that for myself, but it is what it is. So this is going to go on the keep, but with an asterisk. So I'm going to put like a little asterisk on the graphic even. So, okay, so that's everything I've read so far. And here's the graphic with what I'm keeping and what I'm unhauling. So we have 1 more keep than we have unhaul so far, which is kind of bananas, but it is what it is. I am going to do these updates as we move into each section. So that was all of our current releases. We're going to talk about September releases next and see what I think of them. So those books also, as a caveat, anything I talk about that hasn't come out yet, if you those arcs will not be placed anywhere accessible until a couple months after the book has fully been out, because that's like, I want people that want the book to buy the book, not just get an art copy. So there's that. Anyways, let's dive into September. I'll be back to talk to y'all very soon. We have August releases. I've read the first chapter of one of them, which is The Iron Hex. This is by Victoria S. Walsh. This is a debut romantasy, and I actually quite liked the first chapter. I have the audiobook of this, so you're likely going to see me read the whole book, or DNF the book, in the NetGalley vlog when I finish it, but I have so many NetGalley audios, it's not funny. In fact, it's terrible, and I need to work on them, so we are working on them. But yeah, so I like this first chapter. It's a pretty like standard romantasy open. She is opening her shop. She has a pet bunny, and the most handsome man she's ever seen walks in. So I'm gonna read more. I'm intrigued enough that I would like to read more. Also, I just love this cover. Like, it is stunning. I hope y'all can really see that cover, because it is just beautiful. So there's that. All right, let's go on to one that I also have an audiobook pre-ordered for, which is Divine Oaths. This is a Black author's debut for adult romantasy. They have written young adult mystery and thriller, debut adult novel. So very excited. I love this cover. Like, I really, really like this cover. So I'm very, very curious to see what I think of it as I dive in here. But I'm going to read the first chapter and I will report back. I know this is a academic romantasy, academic thing. It says Ninth House meets Legendborn. How much romance is actually in this, but I'm intrigued enough that I would like to try more, so we shall see. Okay, so Divine Oaths is a very interesting first chapter. Our heroine is working in a pawn shop. She's trying to pawn an item from her time before her powers awakened, and her family was alive. They all died in a fire, basically, and she's been living with her aunt. Her aunt's moving. She needs money for a down payment to an apartment. She works at this pawn shop and does fortune telling, psychic readings. She has visions. That's what you need to know. And someone that goes to university she got accepted to and was given like a 5-year grace period to decide to come has shown up at the pawn shop and wants her to tell him when he dies. That is chapter 1. She's about to do it. I am very intrigued. I'm hoping my audiobook arc that I got comes in soon and I can give that a try. Obviously, this doesn't come out until September 2026. Oh, I think I have September and August together. Yes, I do. Anyways, this doesn't come out for a minute, but I'm very intrigued to see what it looks like when it does come out. Alright, next, we're going to give a young adult a try, which is But I Hate Him, because it is hockey and a theater kid, I believe, or a fellow, like, smart kid. Not that the hockey kid isn't also smart. This comes out in August. Let's see what I think. Okay, I just read chapter 1 of But I Hate Him. I'm really intrigued by this for a YA. I'm curious about And They Were Roommates, but this one feels more up my alley overall. So one hero, Rory, is like trying to win the scholarship, has been working his whole life towards this goal and this like plan his parents have laid out. And Luca is a hockey star also in these competitions. And we end chapter 1 with Rory throwing his smoothie at the back of Luca's head because he's ticked, because Luca can like show up late to these things and he keeps beating him out like 30, this will be the 36th time he's lost to Luca, but he feels like Luca's always getting like exceptions, and so he loses it and he throws a smoothie. And I'm intrigued how this goes. I love an academic-y rivals thing. I love that the other one's a jock, like very different people. I'm also assuming with very different familial expectations in life, so I'm curious to read more. Okay, next in the pile is a book I'm not going to read, which is Devour Me by Emily Rath. I'm not reading this arc because I've already read the first chapter of it, but I do want to say I am curious enough that I will be reading more, but Emily talked about a lot of changes having happened since this came out, and I don't want to say that I don't want to read it yet, but I think I kind of want to wait till the finished version is out because I'm curious about the changes and if they fix some of the issues a few of my friends had when they read the arc. So this is going on hold for now. And then the last August release is A Summer of Stars by Liana Cincotti. This is the fake relationships and like don't fall in love fake relationship situation. This is a tennis superstar and Hollywood's golden boy. So I'm gonna read the first chapter and I'll be right back. Okay, I like this. I already like this. So she has went into hiding for like 8 months. She's coming out of hiding. Has to be in a relationship for one of her sponsors. One person she doesn't want to be in a relationship with because they both can't stand each other. I love that setup. I also love how much of this book discusses that women in the spotlight must be perfect. And I'm really curious to see how that unfolds as I read more of this book. But yeah, I like this. I'm excited. I'm actually excited about a book with the tennis star in it. Who am I? So, very pumped to see what I think as I read more of this. Okay, so we started our October releases. I read the first chapter of Winter's Hollow. I don't have enough information yet. I don't mind the writing. It's kind of lyrically purple prosy. I'm still intrigued because like they're going to visit they end up breaking into their childhood favorite author's abandoned home. And I'm just intrigued. So nothing scary yet. I will read more of this. I did listen to the first chapter on audio because I have the audiobook from Libro FM's influencer program. So yeah, this was fascinating. I was surprised by it. Next, we're going to read the first chapter of As You Wake, Break the Shell by Becky Chambers. I've not read a full-length Becky Chambers ever, and I feel like I need to. She is beloved by many mutuals of mine and many friends of mine. So, I mean, I read like The Monk and Robot. Like, I read the first one of that, but I would like to read more. So, I think we will read, we're going to get a map. Okay. The first chapter, which I don't believe is very, started my first ever full-length Becky Chambers, As You Wake, Break the Shell, and I quite liked it. I'm very intrigued. There's these things called like oracles, which they like connect to and stuff and can speak to. So, I'm intrigued. We got a little bit of Cora's story and we've gotten a little bit of Signy. So I'm really curious to see how this all comes together. I'm very intrigued. Very, very intrigued. So this is definitely staying on the TBR. Next, I don't know if I'm going to finish this. This might be my last one. Next we have Lethal Kiss by Taylor Groth. This is a sapphic vampire horror romance. It says horror romance on the back. However you want to combine those two. So we'll see. I'm going to give this a go and I'll be right back. Okay, Lethal Kiss. Wow. She kills someone in the first chapter, so it's relatively gory, but not super I don't know. It's like an in-between gory. Vampire gory? She's a succubus. Anyways, she's told that she needs to switch to a different university, basically, for her program because of discomfort she's causing as a succubus. Anyways, yeah, intriguing. I'm very curious to read more. I assume this is going to be a lot of, like, feminine rage-y stuff around schooling, universities and all that. So this is good. I'm excited to read more of this one. Like, I'm really excited too. So that's for sure staying. I just read the first chapter of New Again, Everything New Again by Renee Watson. Bliss is our female main character and Solomon is our male main character. I'm curious about this. Bliss's family runs a funeral home and she's very just like whatever. Not like in a bad way, but like I relate to her indifference on death. And I'm intrigued. I would like to read more of this, but I am going to put a little asterisk here because I'm still pretty fresh in my grief of losing my dad. And I don't know if I'm up to that or not, but I am intrigued. But basically a new boy shows up in town over winter break. And it's them like building a bond then, and I think we go from there. So I'm curious. I think this could be really interesting. But it's also something I could see myself DNFing. But I know a lot of people love Renee Watson's young adult titles and teen fiction. So, like, I'm also intrigued enough that I would like to read more. So, this is going in the, yeah, but it may not work for me at the same time pile. So, there's that. Next up, we are going to do Succubus, a love story. I do believe this is actually a romance, even though it says a love story on it. I think St. Martin's likes to do that, if I recall correctly. Obviously, if I find out otherwise, I'm not here for it. I'm curious to hear about this, see what I think of this one. This one really did catch my eye when I was looking at it at the book event. So, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna dive in and I will be right back. Succubus, I'm keeping. This is staying on my TBR. I'm very intrigued. Basically, our heroine is like, I keep killing men and I figured out I'm a succubus or a demon or something. And it's her navigating that and then also, like, not feeding. She's also a doula now. And takes care of her niece. And I'm just really curious to see where this goes. This one has my attention. I would like to get a digital copy potentially. to give this a whirl sooner than later, because I'm intrigued for sure. Next, we have another one that's leaving the collection, and that is The Friendsgiving Pact. This is a friends to lovers college age romance. I just honestly, age demographic wise, was not feeling it. I didn't love the first chapter's sentence structure, and I read a couple of reviews and some people talked about it being very like not great writing, and I could kind of feel that in chapter 1, so I think I'm gonna let this go. But we open with Avery and her friend Theo getting ready to go to a party together, and she's on the phone with her ex-boyfriend, and he's like, why are you talking to him? So kind of interesting, but also just not, I don't know, not what I want. So it's leaving. And then last but not least, I did read Queen of Lombard Street by Lisa Kleypas. This is not a romance title. Once again, this is not a romance title. Yes, it's by Lisa Kleypas. It is not a romance. So do keep that in mind, please, and thank you as I talk about it. I'm intrigued by this one. I do enjoy Lisa Kleypas. There are some Lisa Kleypases I don't like that a lot of people love, but there are ones that I love that also people love. So, you know, this is a Victorian England set book with a heroine who is trying to open a bank account and is like doing all of these things. She decides to open a woman's only bank situation. This was a really intriguing prologue and first chapter. She is a bastard child, Nihilus Phyllis or something like that. I'm not good at Latin. Anyways, her father is like, she does not need all this education, blah, blah, blah. And the mom is like, absolutely not. My daughter will be so educated. And thus we have a very smart heroine who I'm really excited to see kind of take on people and take on the world. So I'm very excited to read more of this. I think this is a really intriguing thing, and it's very interesting sometimes to see authors I know in the romance space step into other genres. So I'm at the very least curious to see how this plays out. So that's where we're at right now. This is current standings for the ones leaving my TBR. So this is everything so far that I've read, and then your updated check-in for everything that's staying in this pile. I think this is all of it. Yes. So these 6 titles are hanging around. 2 of them are maybes, depending on how I feel as I read more of them, but not too bad. On to November and 2027 releases. I only have 2 November releases, so we'll do those first, and then I will come back and we'll start on 2027. So let's talk about my 2 November ones in a few, and we'll see what I think. I'm pretty excited. I'm very excited for both of these, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, so I've read my next one, which is Too Cold for Comfort by Nisha J. Tooley, and I'm so excited. We literally open with her on a plane to place with the most polar bears, and she has immediately met the owner of the lodge she's staying at, and he is just very grumpy already, and I love this. Yeah, I'm excited. I really enjoyed Not Safe for Work. I know it had its issues, don't get me wrong, I understand that, but I still think it was a really fun contemporary romance, and I am very excited to see how this delivers. Okay. Yes, very pumped. Anyways, yeah, it's her getting there. It was a great time. Next, we have Drowned the Bones, which is our last November release, and then we'll get into 2027 releases. Yeah, this is one I'm also really curious about. I did get an e-arc of it, so hopefully I like it. If I don't, I guess I'll DNF it now, but I'm curious to see what I think of this romantasy debut. Okay, so Drown the Bones opens like with really strongly, I would say. I think this is a really interesting first chapter for only being 5 pages. It is very short, 5 pages. Very, very short. I am really intrigued by this. So our heroine, we're following them as they send people into the afterworld, like to the other side. And this book deals heavily with like religious themes and like deconstruction, it seems. I'm intrigued as someone who is like super not religious, we'll call it. I was raised outside of religion. Not necessarily atheist, but I was definitely raised outside of organized religion in any capacity. So I'm intrigued enough that I would like to read more of this. We'll see what I think when I read more. This could be really fun. But yeah, here's our November picks so far. That does basically fill up this page. So both of these are keeps from November. I'm excited to read more and see what I think of them. We're going to move on to 2027 releases. I think all of these are out no later than April. So I've got 4 of those, and we're going to read those next and see how they go. All right, so I just did To the Rotting End, which technically I think is the first one to come out in this pile. It comes out at the end of January next year. I'm intrigued. This is it's a very thick book, first of all, but I'm intrigued because she's basically been on the run forever because her family was all murdered. And in being on the run, she's like taking comfort with the various men, and we literally end the chapter with her murdering a man. And I'm curious what this means. It is fae. It is darker themes, it seems. But yeah, I'm actually curious about this one. More curious than I thought I would be. So that's a nice surprise, honestly. So yeah, that one's staying. Okay, so I read the first chapter of Hero, and I actually own this on Audible, so it's staying because either way I have to read this book at some point. I'm really curious because the opening is hard. She loses her husband who's about to become a detective, and he is like dead, brain dead when she gets to the hospital due to a workplace situation, and already has 2 kids plus 1 on the way, it sounds like, possibly. So I just feel like that's a really hard situation. I'm very ACAB, but I'm intrigued at the like setup here for it being a firefighter because like, anyways, I'm intrigued enough that I'd like to read more of it here. So we'll see what happens when we get there, but it's staying tentatively. I also don't know if it's going to be too much grief themes for me. I will also note that it could possibly be way too much in the grief department for me, and it may be a DNF. I don't know. This is someone that I adores who's left the bookish internet one of their favorite books, so I would like to at least try to read it. Okay, so Frankie Lu's Summer of No Regrets is very cute. Intro chapter. I quite liked it. Our heroine is literally 18, like going to Taipei for the month to see her grandparents before she goes to college next year, who is on a plane but her rival from Chinese school and many years of life. And it's a really fun dynamic already. I really liked that. I think they end up spending time together, obviously in Taipei, but this is like kind of one of my favorite kinds of YA. It feels written for the audience. It feels like I'm reading a book targeted towards current teens, but also it is a good time of change in their life. Like, I feel like that time between high school and college is so wild, that like that summer, and there's so much to it that I really like a setting like that. So I'm excited to read more of this, actually. I'm curious. I would like to read more of this one. On to our last book, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Okay, I just finished Saints and Monsters first chapter. This does not come out until April. This is going to be a maybe. This is definitely getting an asterisk next to it. I think I will like it. It feels interesting. It is also very religious themed. It was interesting to learn some about the magic. So basically, our heroine, Marcella, is a vessel to Selima, who is able to wield power. The vessels basically give their aura and life up to the Santos. So she is leaving her service, though, to go become a nun, basically, instead of being a vessel. And it's following that situation. It's very interesting, very heavy on the religion here. Like, the church runs the Santos and the vessels program and all this stuff. So I'm curious to see how this magic system works in full and where it's headed. So for now, it is a keep, but it's a maybe, because I couldn't see myself DNFing it also, because it is mostly a fantasy book, and I don't read a ton of just fantasy. It varies. I read some, but not a ton. So that covers everything I read for this, and it's time to outro this video. Basically, here is everything from the last check-in. So we have on the last page one book for 2027, which is To the Rotting End, and then these 4 titles, these 3 titles that I just read here as well. The blue cover is our fill-in for Of Saints and Monsters. There is no cover for that book yet, and I don't feel like making a fake cover for y'all. So this is what you're getting. Millie, and Millie is just over me. I feel like. So yeah, let's outro this and talk about it here, because I do have obviously quite a few books that I'm keeping. 21 books keeping, and then 5 that I'm unhauling from this chapter that were DNFs. And we have, how many maybes is the real question? 4 maybes. So that feels pretty good. I did keep the maybes on the TBR because obviously I don't know when I'm getting to these. My general rule for all of the books I just got during ALA right now is none of these count against me until next year. So a lot of these will naturally get read before next year. So I think that'll be good. And it'll let me kind of, judge and see where I'm at and what I want to read. So yeah, I think overall this was productive. I do obviously have a giant pile of graphic novels to also read. Let me know if y'all want that to be like a dedicated vlog maybe, where I sit and read through all of these graphic novels on my TBR from ALA now, or what I should do. Y'all can let me know in the comments. Again, same thing, I'm not counting those against me until January 2027. I really want that clean cut for this year's progress, so adding these in feels like not giving myself that. And that is just the one thing I really want. I would love to know if any of these I talked about, if there are any that piqued your interest that you're wanting to pick up, or if there are any that you're really excited to see me read. You can let me know that down below. And if you don't do any of that, you can leave me a sleeping emoji, because I feel like all you're hearing is Millie. I know you're not just hearing Millie snore, but I know the princess, the queen, the diva is in the background snoozing away. So you can leave me a sleepy emoji of your choice. I will, of course, have links to all these books down there for you, links to my friend anywhere on the internet, and I will catch y'all in just a few days in my next video. Bye!
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we waited for.